Good evening, everyone. Today is August the 9th of 2022, and this is the regular scheduled meeting of the Richland 1 Board of Commissioners. We do have a statement to read pursuant to the Freedom of Information Act FOIA. The public will be provided access to the live stream of this meeting via the district's website, which is www.richland1.org, as well as in person with limited seating. We do have an agenda set before us, which is our executive session, which is to start at 5:30. With Office of the Board, with 4 student transfers, as well as Office of Human Resources, with HR personnel updates, administrative hire, and hiring of personnel. Is there a motion on the floor?
Move for approval.
Second.
Okay, moving for approval to approve the agenda and to go into executive session. Can you
Yes.
clarify your motion?
I move to approve the agenda and to go into executive session.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and properly second to approve the agenda for executive session and to go in executive session. We'll open up for question or discussion. Commissioner King?
Yes, under 401, HR personnel updates, it's just what we have here. There's no concerns or anything like that. So it just that. Okay, thanks.
We'll now call for the vote. Manuel, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those that oppose say nay. Ayes have it. The vote is unanimous. Let the record reflect Commissioner Lomanak and Commissioner Bishop is not present. At this time, we are in executive session. Thank you. Good evening again, everyone. Today is August the 9th of 2022. The time now is 7:01 p.m. The board is back from executive session. We did end executive session at 6:10 p.m. The motion from Commissioner King, which was seconded by Commissioner Devine, and the vote was unanimous to end at 6:10 p.m. We do have an agenda set before us. We do need to make one correction, I believe, Dr. Witherspoon, to the public agenda. We need to delete one of the student appeals, student transfer requests.
Transfer.
So that would be which item?
3.04 and corresponding in open session
Be 10.4.
10.04.
So 10.4 is being removed from the agenda. Corresponds with executive session item 3.4. Okay, we do have an agenda set before us. We go into public session, which is the call to order, invocation, agenda adoption, public participation, as well as our consent agenda items, Office of Operations, Office of Human Resources, Office of the Board, Superintendent, and then adjournment. At this time, we will call ourselves to order, and we will begin with our invocation coming from Commissioner Myers.
We thank you, Heavenly Father, for gathering us here today, this evening, to do your work. We pray to God, our family, for all the people who help Richland 1 to be our special family. Father, make our school be a family, which offer caring as well as learning, which offers safety as well as knowledge, which share faith but as well as direction. We make this prayer in Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you so much, Commissioner Myers, for providing our invocation. At this time, we'll go to 6.2. We'll call for the agenda adoption with the one correction of deleting item 10.4. What's the pleasure of the board?
Move for approval.
Second.
It's been moved by Commissioner King, second by Commissioner Devine. Open the floor for any question or discussion. Seeing none, hearing none, we'll call for the vote. Eva, electronic? Okay. Let the record reflect the agenda for tonight's meeting has been approved. The vote is unanimous. Let the record also reflect that Commissioner Lomanak as well as Commissioner Bishop will not be in attendance for tonight's meeting. At this time, we'll move on to the consent agenda, and we will read in all items. If there is an item that any board member would like to pull out separately, If you can give me those items, Commissioner King.
Yes, Ms. Harris, which one was it? Definitely the 712, 708, and then I have, that's it for those two. And then I'll have general questions on.
Any other board member pulling contracts? Okay, if not, I'll read all items in with the exception of 7-8, 7-12. We will take one collective vote, and we will go back to 7-8, 7-12 individually. 7-1 is the minutes for July 26, 2022. 7-2 is contract extension for ultra-low sulfur diesel fuel. 7-3 is an extension to provide mobile dental health card services. 7-4 is an extension for assessment and learning in knowledge spaces, which is ALEC software. 7-5 is an extension for professional and certified research. 7-6 is an extension for professional development for a Carolina Teacher Induction Program. 7-7 is a contract extension to purchase fresh produce. 7-9 is a contract extension for iReady Assessment Program. 7-10 is an extension for online student registration software maintenance and support. 7-11 is a contract extension for Renaissance Star Assessment Software Solution. What's the pleasure of the board?
Move for approval, Madam Chair.
Second.
Then moved by Commissioner Devine, second by Commissioner Myers. We'll now open the floor for any questions on any of the items that I've read in. Seeing none, hearing none, we will call for the vote. Myers. Okay, the vote is unanimous. All items, as previously stated, have been approved under consent agenda. We will now go back to 7-8, which is a contract extension for a mentoring program. Ms. Outing, okay? Sherry Matthew Hazel.
Yes, I'll be filling in for Ms. Outing. Madam Chair, Board, Dr. Witherspoon, the administration is requesting approval by the Board of School Commissioners to extend a contract to City Year, the mentoring program at John P. Thomas Elementary School, and include the following benefits listed below. The administration recommends approval.
Okay, you've heard the recommendation of the administration. What's the pleasure of the board?
Move for approval.
Second.
Been moved by Commissioner King, second by Commissioner Devine. We are now open the floor for any question or discussion.
Yes, Ms. Harris, I pulled it out because I think it's a very special program and that communities overall need to really hear. Plus, we have members here that I'd like to recognize. But my questions are, I'm reading, so John P. Thomas, and John P. Thomas is the only school right now that has a program. In the past, we've had more, so it's been we're kind of stuck on one school. So I think that City Year is a little bit different than Communities in School, so I think that I'd like to know why, City Year and then what the differences are, if we have other schools that would benefit from that. I see 8 adults advocates. I think it's the same number that we've had over the years. Is that right?
We're going to bring up Dr. Cooper.
Okay.
Dr. Cooper, thank you.
All right.
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board, Dr. Witherspoon, Commissioner King. We continue to work with City Year at the national office out of Boston. Richland One has made it abundantly clear that we would like to continue our partnership with City Year and to expand both vertically and horizontally with this partnership. As you have expressed, we definitely see the value of the work that our core team members do in our schools each and every day. They are every day on demand, working with our teachers, supporting our parents, supporting our students. But here's the rub. Unfortunately, City Year nationally only has a certain capacity of core team members. So Richland 1 is on the docket. They hear us loud and clear. Annually, Dr. Witherspoon allows me to fly to Washington to work with other City Year core team executives and with partner liaisons. And we make it clear that Columbia, South Carolina, Richland School District 1 specifically would like additional core team members when they become available. If I may, not to belabor the meeting, but we do have a new executive director. Ms. Tanika Epps has taken the role as executive director of City Year in the place of Dr. Wilson. So we certainly look forward to our continued work in making sure that those red coats are in our school at JPT every day, working to impact the lives of our students.
Okay, thanks for that. So you said 14. I see 8 here.
Excuse me?
I think I heard you correctly when you said 14 team members.
No, we have 18, 8 core team
8.
members
That's
that
right.
are
That's what I'm
assigned.
seeing.
Yes.
Okay.
So typically they dispatch a team of 8, and we have been very fortunate to be assigned 8 core team members. We also have representation from their main central headquarters here in Columbia, and we also have an on-site liaison that continues to work with our principal, Ms. Lena Lattimore, who's here with us tonight, as well as our core team to make sure that we have ongoing professional development, and there is alignment with the academic thrust, our social-emotional thrust for our students, so that there's all that articulation so our core team members do the best job each and every day with our students.
So they're staying in the school how many hours a day?
8 hours plus. We had a question from Commissioner Myers during board subcommittee about their frequency and their impact. They are boots on the ground, figuratively and literally, at 7:30 in the morning during the school day, and they help with our after-school programs and any other supplemental programs that are designed and desired by our principal, our on-site CEO.
So all 8 are there 5 days a week?
Yes, ma'am.
From 7:30 until even after school?
Correct.
Okay. Well, I mean, that's the best, that's the lowest pay, well, one of the lowest pays I see. But, all right, I just wanted to highlight that because
Yes,
it's a
ma'am.
good program. We talked about vertical articulation, which means essentially going from elementary to, and have continuity through middle and high.
Yes, ma'am.
What do we have in terms of sort of filling in the gap of the shortage of City Year for vertical articulation for John P. Thomas for the rest of the cluster, or at least for middle and high? What are some of the supports that can be put in place to sort of substitute a little bit the lack of core members at City Year?
Well, I would have to say that our student support services team does a fantastic job at making sure that they match our students with adult advocates to support. They also have mentoring programs, lunch buddy programs, a lot of our community partners, 100 Black Men, Junior League of Columbia, who come in to stand shoulder to shoulder to make sure that those middle school students and other schools in that cluster also feel that love, for lack of a better term, or that closeness with an adult advocate. So please know that over the 29-year partnership, we have gone vertically and we have worked with our City Year core team members horizontally, because to your credit, we have had more than just one core team. But again, City Year had to make a key decision. We have one in Richland 1, Lexington. Our sister school district has 2 core teams, but we are on the docket, on the national dashboard, to be one of the first U.S. cities to acquire another team when they become available.
Okay.
And I am your advocate. As I said, I go to Washington every year, and I continue to let the executive director out of Boston to know that we welcome these red coats in our school. In 29 years, Madam Commissioner, 29-year partnership.
No, it's really excellent. I mean, so thank you for that. I don't have any more questions.
Okay, there is a motion on the floor. It's already been seconded. We'll pass discussion. We'll now call for the vote. Okay. Okay. Vote is unanimous. The contract extension for the mentoring program City Year has been approved. Certainly want to take this time to thank Ms. Epps for being here, and I see several members of City Year throughout the building. Thank you so very much for what you do. At this time, we'll move on to second contract, which is 712, which is the contract extension for temporary personnel staffing services.
The administration is requesting approval by the Board of School Commissioners to extend contracts to Apple One Employment, Snelling Personnel Services, Radstad North America, and HireQuest to provide temporary personnel staffing services in the amount of $825,000.
You've heard
The administration so recommends.
You've heard the recommendation of the administration. What's the pleasure of the board?
Move for approval.
Second.
It's been moved by Commissioner Devine, second by Commissioner Myers. We'll now open the floor. Ms. King, questions?
Yes, thank you. So what really piqued my interest on this is custodial services. Is this the first time that we retain an agency that I'm assuming would be specialized maybe in providing custodians?
There were
or-
previous years where we obtained services to hire custodial services.
Okay, so what's going to be different this time? I mean, can we just not find them at all, even through temp services? Because we have a severe shortage.
Let's see.
Do we have
Ms. Scott, I know
Melvin
Mr.
here?
Henry
To
was
that.
going to be here. I think he's.
Melvin
there he
Henry
is.
was coming forward to speak to that question.
Thank you. Good evening. Could you repeat the question, please?
I'll be glad to.
you
Good
hear
to
me?
see you, Mr. Henry. It's been a while.
Yes, ma'am.
So my question is, everybody knows that there's a severe shortage of custodians in our schools. So how will this contract with, particularly with Randstad and HireQuest, relieve some of the burden that we have?
Very good question.
Thank
We
you.
have utilized this contract for many years. We had Randstad on board probably 6 years ago. We added HireQuest, formerly Trojan, just a couple of years ago in response to the vacancies that we were getting. We're very proud of this program. In fact, it's worked very nicely. We have a temp to hire program, as we call it. So the contract folks have an opportunity to come in and see what we do. We have an opportunity to see what they do. And after a period of 30, 60 days, they can come on with the district by filling out an application. So we have worked with these two partners, I would say, for several years now. So annually, it's brought to the board for approval.
Okay, so I want to be an optimist, but I'm also a realist. So I don't think this is really going to change the landscape because we've had this for so many years. I think maybe not last board meeting, but a board meeting not too far in the distance, I asked whether we got to find a solution, and one of my asks was, is the administration looking at maybe subcontracting completely that part out? And I think that Mr. Carlin's response was, we're currently discussing those. So is that still on the table?
Yes, ma'am. All options are remain open.
Okay. And how long does that take?
Well, let me talk just for a second about contract assistance. The Randstad and HireQuest contracts are a part of our options, if you will. Back in December, we were in, I would say, dire straits when it comes to custodial. Since December, I'd like to say here today that I'm very excited about where we are because we're in the best situation that we have been in since 2019. Going through the pandemic, it was very tough for us to hire custodians from outside, but something shifted. We have incentives, $1,000 for sign-on, $1,000 for folks that work in the evening, elementary schools for lockup. We have added and have been flexible. If folks want to come in full-time, part-time, 9-month, 12-month, if they would like to work hourly. The job fair that HR sponsored, I think they sponsored it, was extremely successful for us. Also attended the recent high school job fair, which was at Dreer High School. So looking for high schoolers there as well, so thank you for that. We actually brought in, back in December, one of the contract companies that some of our other larger districts use. I personally walked them through 2, 3, 4 buildings, gave them information, square footage, numbers, etc., to see if they wanted to come in and assist us. In the beginning, the answer was yes, we'd love to. But when we got down to trying to award purchase orders, they backed out. They're fishing out of the same pond. So to think that those contractors can come in and pay custodians in our neighborhoods less dollars per hour with no benefits and still get the job done, I just think that is something that we would not want to do at this point. I'll put it that way. So what we're doing is we're going to go out and take a look at those folks who would like to assist us. We have come out of what I would call dire emergency in December. We had a conversation with administration. We have been able to bring in, over the last 30, 45 days, we selected over 70 custodians to come into this district. We have hired almost 30 so far. We have another 20, 25 that are pending with HR. So at this point, I'm feeling pretty good about where we're headed. We continue to interview every day. We have other things happening. The word of mouth has gotten around, and I want to thank Superintendent and the board for the adjustment in pay, because I think the wrong information has gotten out there. We pay a very good living wage here for custodians. In fact, on average, I looked at the last 15, 20 folks we hired, entry-level custodians. We were paying them over $30,000 a year, on average. So when we talk about 18, 20, low 20s, that's the entry level. And we have been able to attract many custodians from other organizations because of what we do here. So I remain optimistic with where we are. We will continue to keep those things open. I continue to track why custodians leave, and it's not the reasons that most people think. I have those numbers available for anyone who'd like to see them. So I hope that answers your question.
Well, it answers some of my question for sure. One thing I'd like to make clear is that, I don't think anybody suggested that the other companies would be, better or whatever for the custodians. Of course, if we can hire somebody who's local, who has a family to feed, and we provide a good wage, it's a hard job. It's a really hard job, and it's a super important job. They're part of the team. But I talk to principals, I talk to parents, I talk to custodians, all of us do, and there's a shortage, period. So I'm really glad to hear that you're super optimistic and that there were 70 in the pipeline, 30 are apparently have been extended contracts, that's what I heard. It'd be nice to, and that's to Dr. Witherspoon, to know exactly, because I'm assuming that that's a pretty easy number to get, unlike teachers in the classrooms. We know when we're fully staffed with custodians, we know that number. That's kind of a hard number. So I like to know, are we staffed at 70%, 99%, 22%, whatever. So that would be nice. The second thing is, as far as salaries, if the district and the administration and the web designers and all that put those salaries out there, I'm assuming that's part of a job description, there wouldn't be rumors. People would know exactly. Pull up the job description, it's right there. So there wouldn't be any misconceptions. So that's good to hear. The benefits that you listed, I don't know, and I mean, that's just on me. I didn't realize that there were bonuses, et cetera. I don't know if that's part of the sheet that we were talking about in HR. If it is, it's out there. But we should not have to dig through the many pages on the website to find all of that. So we know that people find jobs because, one, they're qualified, or at least they think they're qualified, but they're also looking at pay. And if we say we have incentives, and we're not putting the incentives for everybody to see, and first thing on the website, and say, man, Richland won, then we're not passing the message as we should. So, okay, so but you're still looking also at supplementing maybe in some ways through. Would it have to be an entire all or nothing if you went through a subcontractor? I mean, could you have some that are not employees and some that are employees?
That was actually the discussion with this large contractor, and in the beginning, there was an offer to assist, but then that was removed.
Okay, but that was one
That was just
contractor,
one.
right?
Yes,
okay,
ma'am.
so I'm sure there are many out there. So
One of the
anyway,
better.
Mr. Henry, thank you. You've answered my question. Thank you.
Okay.
I appreciate that.
Thank you very much.
Okay, any other board members with questions? Just for clarification, where is the salary for custodians? Is it posted out there on the website?
All of the salaries are included on the posting with the job description.
Okay, all right.
That range of salaries
Okay.
for all positions.
All right, thank you. At this time, if there are no other questions from the board, we will now call for the vote.
I have a question.
I'm sorry, Commissioner Clyburn?
And this is just for clarity. I'm not I was listening, but I just want to make sure I didn't miss this. Do any aspects of the contract that is here, as far as the number of, potential fillings of vacancies, is this to, keep what we currently have, or is this to add to try to fill those vacancy numbers?
Yes, ma'am. These are folks that are temporarily assigned in the vacancies that we have. And they have an opportunity to come on with Richland One after they see, how we work, because it is work. So it's a good trade-off. They get to see the job, we get to see them work, and everybody's happy, and we bring them on Richland One.
Okay, and
But
then
it doesn't affect the open jobs. They're still there.
okay. Well,
But for instance, if we have 15, at any time, we could have 10, 20, 25 staff from these agencies, so it takes our vacancies down from a body standpoint. And when they get comfortable with Richland One, they can submit that application and come in and fill that job.
And that leads into my second question. So my second question was about the attempt to hire initiative that you just spoke about. Do you have just a percentage of the impact that program, like the percentage of how many decide to stay, with us?
I would say prior to the pandemic, the pandemic really shook us. But we were probably in the neighborhood of 20 to 25% of our new hires coming from the contract pool.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, any other questions? Commissioner King?
So, Mr. Henry, because you know your numbers so well, right now, how many vacancies do we have?
We have We have 61 12-month custodians with 21 pending recommendations in HR at this point. We also have 15 contract workers in those slots. So if you look at those numbers, probably in the neighborhood of 30 plus, 12-month worker shortages across the 50 sites. We also have 25 9-month vacancies. Those are the folks that just work during the school district. In addition to that, we have miscellaneous building coordinator, night leaders, and part-time positions.
Okay.
And we have, just the month of November, we filled 16. I'm sorry, just the month of July. We filled 16.
Okay.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Henry, and thank you for all that information. That's good to hear. We've come a long ways. At this time, there's a motion on the floor. It's been properly seconded. We fulfilled discussion. At this time, we will call for the vote. Let the record reflect the vote is unanimous. The contract extension for temporary personnel staffing services has been approved. We'll now move to the Office of Operations. And do y'all want to do these items individually or collective? Do we have any to pull?
Eight of,
Go ahead.
Which one, Ms. King?
I'd like to pull 805, 806.
So 81 and 84.
I'm sorry?
Okay, so we'll read in all of the other items. We'll do 805 and 806 separately. 81 is a contract for online educational software. 82 is a contract for the MOU for Carolina Teach Induction Program. 83 is the contract for secondary schools book order, Title I, Barnes & Noble. 84 is the contract for reading books order, Title I, Scholastic. 87 is the approval, well, we'll do that last since that's the our funding. Okay. What's the pleasure of the board?
Move for approval, Madam Chair, on said items that you read in.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and properly second for 8-1 through 8-4. We'll open the floor for any question or discussion. Seeing none, hearing none, we will call for the vote, and we are voting on items 8-1 through 8-4. Let the record reflect the vote is unanimous. All items read in 8-1, 8-2, 8-3, and 8-4 have been approved. We'll now go to 8-5, which is a contract for the new weapon detectors. It's Matthew Hazel.
Madam Chair, Board, Dr. Witherspoon, the administration is requesting approval to award a contract to A3 Communication in the amount of $498,341.72. The administration so recommends.
Heard the recommendation of the administration. What's the pleasure of the board?
Move for approval, Madam Chair.
Second.
Been moved by Commissioner Devine, second by Commissioner Clyburn. We open the floor for questions. Ms. King?
Yes, thank you, Ms. Harris. I have several questions on this. The first one is the bid part. So, hey, Mr. Brown. So, tell me if I understood this correctly. So, this vendor is essentially part of a list of 6 contractors that were pre-approved at the state level. Is that correct?
Yes, this was selected from state contract. Yes.
Ms. King, can you state that question again? I'm sorry, I was in transit there.
Sure. So I'm just trying to understand the logistics of the contract, that's all, for now.
All right.
So it does talk about, Article 19, intergovernmental relations, and it says that essentially that A3, it went through a bidding process, is that right?
It is on state contract.
Okay.
And what we did is we bid it for the lowest price on those companies, vendors that were listed on the state contract. So we took an additional step.
So the 6 vendors, among which was A3 Communications, which is a local company in Irma, I believe, they were essentially pre-approved at the state level, right?
Correct.
Okay. So you only, you only considered vendors that were already approved at the state level, and for this type of contract, there's 6, right?
That's correct.
So no other vendor outside of that could have bid.
That is
It was
correct.
only open to those 6.
Only the 6 that were listed on the state contract.
Okay, all right, that's the first clarification I wanted,
Okay.
thank you. The second clarification is, so this is for metal detectors, an example of which we have at the front, is that correct? Is that, I guess that's where Mr. Brown comes in.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, so that's new technology, and has it been tested already? I mean, other than what we just did the district, did y'all go through testing and all of that?
There were research that we did, yes.
Okay, but did you test it? I mean,
In the district?
yeah,
No.
no, okay. All right, and then you say, and this is all, I'm reading from here, so I'm not revealing any secret information, right? So phase 1, so this is for a total of 60 of those things. In the first phase is 31 scanners that will be installed at high schools and designated secondary school. So all the high schools, and just designated middle schools, right? Is that right?
We will process it through phases. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, all right. And the projected delivery date is on or about September 1st. So everything will be deployed by September 1st?
We have a goal, of course. As you know, there's a shortage and demand.
Yeah.
We also have sister districts that are using the same product and putting their orders in as well. So we have a goal, and our procurement is working with the vendor to try
Okay.
to accomplish the goal.
The existing equipment we have, we keep, or we sell, or what do? We use?
We use.
Okay. How many metal detectors do we currently have?
I'll have to get that exact number to you.
Okay, you don't know? Okay.
Not
It's, okay, all right. All right, and then phase 2, 29, purchase, blah, 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 remaining schools, does that mean also elementary schools?
Those are discussions that we're having.
Okay, all right. Okay. So A3 will assist in the training and also the installation. So
That's correct.
okay, and then and those are the the training will be for all your staff, right?
Correct.
And then some at the school level also. Who's going to man those detectors? What's the plan?
As you know, we're still working that
Okay.
plan, developing that plan.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Brown. And I think that's it for your part. You know, I'd like for Eva to make a note. At the time of the vote, if there are any more discussions, you know, people want to ask questions, I
You
can.
can finish, Ms. King.
Like I said, I'm not fundamentally opposed to metal detectors on the principle. But what really, really bothers me in this, and I will abstain, is that's short of voting no. But what really, really bothers me is that this is a $2.5 million contract. Okay, so it's like going from essentially zero to $2.5 million in security. But this is only a piece of the puzzle, and I don't have the full picture of the puzzle because the board hasn't been briefed at all on what the strategy is overall. And to think that like we can metal detector ourselves out even for security reasons, I don't think I disagree fundamentally with that approach. So again, it's not the metal detectors or that particular contract. It's just the timeline and how things are presented. And really the fundamental, if we say that safety is number one, and yet the board and the administration has not brought to the board the full picture of how are we looking, what are we looking at changing direction, vision, philosophy, communication with the community. Nothing has been provided other than just a super, super bare bone thing that really gave us nothing. And it's going to be the topic of a future retreat. It's backwards. It's upside down. That's all I have to say.
Commissioner Myers.
Quick question. Have anything changed in phase one since this contract? I believe you brought phase one when we first were talking about a metal detective a couple of months ago. You brought back the viewpoint of phase one and phase two. Since the new idea about the metal detective, have anything changed from your phase one and phase two planning process?
No, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? Commissioner Devine?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I do want to state for the record that on July 26th, the board did get a information session regarding the safety update regarding these items. The board voted unanimously for these items that were in our budget. So I was aware of it. I attended that meeting. I was here at that session. It was 4 o'clock on July 26th. I understood the picture of where we're going, and I just want to put that on the record that we've had discussion several times about this one particular item. Now, whether we can work our way out of this fundamentally, I would agree that I don't think metal detecting our way is a way out, but it is a way, it's a tool that's in our toolbox and our arsenal to ensure that we have safety in our schools. I'm a parent of 3 children in this district. I want to make sure that all of my children are safe, not just my children, but every child that attends this school district is safe. This is just a tool in the toolbox to ensure that our students are safe. Parents have asked us to do something. I remember years ago, we talked about SROs. I was on the board then when SROs we were the first school district to have SROs in every school. And then we added them at 2 and 3 at several other larger schools. I remember that was a discussion that the board had at that time. And so over the years, I can say that parents have always asked that schools are safe. This is just another tool in our toolbox to ensure that we have safety to make sure that all of our students are safe going forward. So I do remember discussion. I don't have the PowerPoint that you presented at the July 26th board meeting, but I do remember what you said and how we're going to get to where we're going to go. I don't have the information, but we did have a work session to discuss it, and I think on the next board retreat, we may have that same continued discussions about safety about moving forward. There is no right or wrong answer. It's just a way for us to help our young people stay safe. The world has changed, and we understand that. So this is just another tool in our toolbox to ensure that our schools are safe, and not just students, but also our staff. We got to make sure that our staff is safe just as well. We have a number of external threats and a number of internal threats. So we got to make sure that we eliminate those external threats the best we can, and then we'll deal with those internal threats as they come along. And this is an ever-changing issue that's just evolving. But safety has to be number one. If I'm safe, I believe students will learn in that learning environment. So I do want to say that we did have a work session on January 26th at 4:00 p.m. to discuss said item. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Devine. Commissioner Brown, Commissioner DeBrown, okay. Mr. Brown, when you first came to the board, I think it was last school year, you came in and you did an assessment of all of our schools. And you asked the board at that time to be able to come in and pilot a metal detectors program because you wanted to grab that data, come back to the board with the direction that the district needs to move in when it comes to securing the campuses. And I know this is not just a discussion here in Richland 1, it's a discussion being held across the state. There are several school districts that have reached out to us because they're working to do the same thing that we're doing, because going back to a statement that was made, we have to secure our campuses, not just for the students, but also for our faculty and staff. But you did come to us after doing that assessment, that pilot program. And from that data, your recommendations is to put the metal detectors in, as we've talked. And also there's some preliminary discussion about even the elementary schools. So you have done some due diligence with giving us some information and also going out there and assessing each school to see where we are so that we make the right decisions. That did happen. Okay. Is there any other question or comment before we call for the vote? Commissioner King?
So I'll tell you what, I'm going to take pictures of the presentation we got, and if anybody can tell me what they learned, that would be great. But the most important part of the presentation was just a slide that says, this is just a mouth-watering kind of thing, but you'll learn more at a future board retreat. So virtually what we got very, very, very little information on the pilot and what is going to be the one of the key pieces, as Mr. Brown indicated, is called Standard Response Protocol. And what we were told was that an expert from Standard Response Protocol was going to come and truly do the presentation at the board retreat. So we got nothing. I invite everybody to watch again, if it's on the website, the work session. Frankly, not much was provided. It's right here.
Okay.
It's right here.
If there are no further discussion, we will call for the vote. Thank you so much, Mr. Brown. We ask that there be no discussion in the audience while we're in session, please. Thank. Okay. Myers.
I already said. Mine's went through.
She did.
Okay. The vote is 4 yeas and 1 abstention. The motion did pass to purchase the new weapon detectors. Thank you so much, Mr. Brown and Ms. Matthew Hazel. At this time, we'll move on to 8.7, which is our approval of fiscal year 2022-23 enterprise fund and internal service funds.
No.
Mr. Carlin?
I'm sorry. There's 806 first.
806.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Oh, yeah, that's the second one we pulled,
It
the
happens.
IAG. Okay, MOA for the International Teach Alliance Group. Dr. Long. We didn't pass that. I never read it in.
Good evening, Madam Chair, Board of Commissioners, Dr. Witherspoon. The administration recommends approval of the attached memorandum of agreement between the International Alliance Group and Richland County School District 1. The administration so recommends.
You've heard the recommendation of the administration. What's the pleasure of the board?
Move for approval, Madam Chair.
Second.
It's been moved by Commissioner Devine, second by Commissioner Clyburn. We'll now open up the floor for question and discussion. Commissioner King?
Yes, thank you, Ms. Harris. Is this a new contract?
It is.
So how many companies that do this kind of work do we already have contracts with?
We have 3
3. And so what do we need another one for?
because they run out of visas. And so the more that we have, the more opportunities we have of getting teachers from international teachers.
Dr. Long, do we have a policy regarding international teachers and international hiring?
I don't think we have a policy regarding international teachers hiring.
So would it be smart to have one, given the number of international teachers that we have, and I would say there are lots of differences because they're international teachers.
What is your question?
Would it be smart to have a policy on international hiring, on hiring of international teachers?
I don't know if it would be smart to do one or not. We've not had one in the past.
Oh, okay. Well, that's not that benchmark, but thank you. All right.
But
So
my point is that they've worked out fine in the past with the 3 organizations we've used.
well, I will wholeheartedly disagree on that. I think that policies are really important to set some standards, and I wholeheartedly believe that we should have one. So we have right now how many international teachers?
About 230,
Okay, and so we're seeking to hire more.
if we need to.
Okay, Dr. Witherspoon, this is a question for you. This obviously is not a statement. Originally, I'm French, so this is really it hits me at the core. I understand that kids, international teachers. This is not a personal remark. International teachers are a lot of times very valuable, know their content, etc. However, we also know that there is a long period of adaptation, of acclimatation. There is also a lot of times a language barrier and an accent barrier. And a lot of the international teachers that we have, we find them in our Title I schools, and and they're also in areas that are critical, like science and math, and topics that are already a lot of times struggles for children become more of a struggle because of accents and cultural barriers, etc. At some point, are we going to try to set a limit on international, on relying on international teachers, and try to really build up a pipeline of teachers that have less barriers to go through?
We can talk about either or we can talk about both and.
I'm sorry,
So-
say that again.
Either or scenarios or both and
Okay.
scenarios. So if we talk about staff, international, and so forth, as we've talked about with this presentation, we want as many tools in our toolkit, our toolbox, that we can have. We talk about what we need in front of our kids, language barriers and so forth, but we hire folks that don't want to go to certain schools, want to go to other schools, We hire folks that want to be here. We hire international teachers that become, get their J1s and so forth, that stay with us and become a part of our community, and want to be integrated and do a lot of support, a lot of community work that we see as we talk about Team One, if you will. So it's not an either-or scenario. It's we want to have individuals that want to be here, want to work with the students that we serve, and we provide those supports. So this, again, this recommendation to the board is to have tools in our toolkit that we need to have, and look at, again, where we still recruit, we still hire, we still grow our own with teacher cadet programs, programs that go even into our middle schools in terms of what we want to have and grow our own that come back and so forth. But this is another tool that we need to have, and again, making sure our classrooms are covered and we have a good teaching force.
For international teachers, one of the issues that was brought up repeatedly was the fact that, yes, Richland 1 gets these international teachers, and we train them, and they love the community, and they start integrating and being really settling in the community, which is great. And then after 5 years, those who want to stay, the district is not sponsoring, and other districts grab them, and they've been trained by Richland 1, and we've given them a lot of things, and then we lose them. There's going to be more effort to work with teachers that because they're bound with the companies. We all understand that for about 3 to 5 years. But we also know that the teachers that we could sponsor, we got to start the work just about in their last year with that company in order to sponsor them.
And we do that.
It takes, oh, well, that's good news. We do that.
And we have been doing that.
Okay. All right. That's on the record. All right. That's it. Thanks.
Any other questions from any other board member? There's a motion on the floor. There's been properly second. We've fulfilled discussion. We'll now call for the vote. Let the record reflect that the motion did pass. There are 4 yeas and 1 nay. The International Teach Alliance Group, IAG, has been approved. Thank you so much, Dr. Long.
You're welcome.
We will now move to 8.7, which is the approval of our fiscal year 2022-23 Enterprise Fund and Internal Service Funds. Mr. Carlin.
Madam Chair, members of the board, Dr. Witherspoon, the administration requests approval of the fiscal year 22-23 Enterprise Fund and Internal Service Fund. The Enterprise Fund is the Student Nutrition Services, which is for the students, and the total is $18,534,500. The Internal Service Fund is the warehouse, and that amount is $3,761,245. The administration requests approval for the Enterprise and Internal Service Fund budgets in total amount of $22,295,745. The administration so recommends.
You've heard the recommendation of the administration. What's the pleasure of the board?
Move for approval.
Second.
Been moved by Commissioner Myers, second by Commissioner Devine. We'll open the floor for question or discussion. Commissioner Devine.
Thank you. Mr. Carlin, is this federal dollars or state dollars or local dollars?
The Enterprise Fund is federal dollars, and the Internal Service is local.
All right. And then does this include the the free meals that we get, that we serve our students?
Ms. Dixon's here. She'll
Okay.
be able to answer that question for you.
All right, thank you.
Good evening, Madam Chair, board members, Dr. Witherspoon. Could you repeat that question, please?
So
I could barely hear you.
No problem. So the question was, does this amount include the free meals that we give the students, that community CEP, the CEP?
Yes, this includes CEP, the Community Eligibility Program that we have currently in our district. It does cover all of those meals that we provide for our students. That's breakfast, lunch, supper, and snacks.
And so our students in Richland 1 do not pay any fee for school lunches?
They do not.
Breakfast, lunch, dinner, or the snacks, as you
They
just
do
stated?
not.
Okay. With these federal dollars, are there certain stipulations, i.e., certain foods that we have to order for nutritional value, sodium and carbohydrates, all of that?
Yes, absolutely.
Can you talk a little bit about that just for a second?
Yes, absolutely. In order for us to qualify in serving meals for our students in this program, we do have to comply with federal regulations and guidelines regarding the meals. There are some changes that have occurred recently with the meal programs. One in which, for the past 2 years, we've been operating under several waivers. Those waivers do not exist anymore. And so there's some changes with that. In addition to that, there are changes in the nutritional patterns. One you mentioned was sodium. All other areas, we are in compliance. We will be in compliance with that sodium requirement as well. So much so that we have some new things that we're introducing in this school year in order to make the meals a little bit more, or enhance the meals a little bit more, if you will. So that we can continue to serve students and they would enjoy the meals.
Awesome, good. And then final question, and you talked a little bit about the meals and the sodium compliance.
Mm-hmm.
As we look forward to this school year, I know that somebody tweeted me information about student nutrition and the new meals that's coming forward and some of the new looks. When will we get a preview of that?
Well, actually, I'm working with communications. Ms. York, she's shaking her head. We have a few things that we're planning here in the near future. This week, beginning last week, actually, our staff has been undergoing a lot of training, a lot of certifications. We do have a number of guests that are going to be attending our staff training this week. Some of those will include culinary training, which will be hands-on for our staff. For the past 2 years, we have been under COVID, and the main focus has been getting the meals prepared for students. But we are returning more to crafting those meals so that they're more appetizing for our kids. And so we brought some professionals in to help us facilitate that training.
All right, very good. Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Ms. Dixon.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Devine. And to your question, along with Mr. Brown coming in with the security piece, there will be a full nutrition presentation provided for the board as well at the retreat. Again, we're trying to get to the retreat. A lot of this information you all would have gotten before the school year, but your schedules
That's right.
are conflicting. So it's hard to get all 7 board members here. A lot of times we talk about the information being received, but a lot of times when we give the information, we're not here to get it. So that's why we've had to push the retreat down to almost the end of September, because that's just how conflicting the schedule has been. But that is a big presentation that will be given, as well as the security at the board retreat. So thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay. Are there any other questions or discussions before we call for the vote? Seeing none, hearing none, we will call for the vote. Let the record reflect the vote is unanimous for the approval of the fiscal year 22-23 enterprise fund and internal service funds. Thank you, Mr. Carlin. And also let me put a plug in there, because of the CEP program, which we signed up for, a lot didn't want it, but we are grateful to have it. Not only did it provide EBT cards to our students during the pandemic, but it is my understanding that those funds are coming back to a certain degree for our students. So that has been shared with us. So I believe there's going to be some additional funds coming to the parents of Richland 1. Again, our district is one of those districts that participates in CEP for all students. We didn't leave one school out. It's all 22,000. So just wanted to share that on the heels of the discussion about the nutrition. At this time, we'll move on to the Office of Human Resources with 9-1, which is our HR personnel updates from Dr. Long. You have the floor.
Madam Chair, Board of Commissioners, and Dr. Witherspoon, the HR personnel updates were provided for you all during the executive session as information.
This is an information item. We'll open the floor for any questions or discussion. Seeing none, hearing none, we'll move on to 9-2, which is an administrative hire. Dr. Long.
The administration recommends hiring Miles Dewey to the position of assistant principal at St. Andrews Middle School for the 22-23 academic year. The administration so recommends.
You've heard the recommendation of the administration. What's the pleasure of the board?
Move for approval, Madam Chair.
Second.
It's been moved by Commissioner Devine and second by Commissioner Clyburn. We'll open the floor for any question or discussion. Commissioner King?
Yes, so this is pertaining to St. Andrews. How many more openings does St. Andrews need to fill?
I don't have that information with me here, but I can get that information for you.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. Seeing no other questions, we'll call for the vote. Let the record reflect the vote is unanimous. The administrative hire has been approved. 9-3, hiring of personnel. Dr. Long.
The administration recommends hiring all the teachers on the attached list for the 22-23 academic year. There are 21 teachers listed. The administration so recommends.
You've heard the recommendation of the administration. What's the pleasure of the board?
Move for approval, Madam Chair.
Second.
Been moved by Commissioner Devine, second by Commissioner Clyburn. We'll now open the floor for any question or discussion. Commissioner Devine.
Dr. Long, can you tell us approximately how many certified staff we need to hire, or teachers we need to hire?
About 197.
Okay. Very good. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay. Any other questions? Seeing none, hearing none, we will call for the vote. Let the record reflect the hiring of personnel as previously stated in 9-3 has been approved. We will now move to 10, which is the office of the board with 10-1. Thank you so much, Dr. Long. 10-1 is a student transfer request. Ms. Coles, Dr. Coles.
Madam Chairwoman, Board of Commissioners, Dr. Witherspoon, the administration recommends approval of the out-of-district transfer of the student with the initials BP to Dreher High School for reasons outlined during executive session. The administration recommends approval of the transfer with a full tuition waiver. The administration so recommends.
You've heard the recommendation of the administration. What's the pleasure of the board?
Move for approval.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Commissioner Myers, second by Commissioner King. We will open the floor for any question or discussion. Seeing none, hearing none, we will call for the vote. Let the record reflect the motion failed. The vote is 5 nays. We'll now move to 10.2, student transfer. Ms. Coles?
The administration recommends.
Hold 1 second. Okay. 10.2, student transfer request.
The administration recommends approval of the out-of-district transfer of the students with the initials HK and MK to AC Flora High School for reasons outlined during executive session. The administration recommends approval of the transfer with full tuition waiver pending release from Richland School District 2. The administration so recommends.
You've heard the recommendation of the administration. What's the pleasure of the board?
Move for approval.
Second.
Been moved by Commissioner King, second by Commissioner Myers. We'll now open the floor for question or discussion. Seeing none, hearing none, we will call for the vote. Let the record reflect the motion failed and the vote is unanimous. We'll now move to 10.3, which is a student transfer request. Ms. Coles?
The administration recommends approval of the out-of-district transfer of the student with the initials RW to Dreher High School for reasons outlined during executive session. The administration recommends approval of the transfer with full tuition waiver. The administration so recommends.
You've heard the recommendation of the administration. What's the pleasure of the board?
Madam Chair.
Commissioner Devine?
Thank you. I move that we accept the student with the initials RW with the understanding that we seek funding and parents take reasonable measures to return to residing within District 1.
Second.
Okay, there is a motion to accept the transfer on the conditions stated by Commissioner Devine. It's been properly seconded by Commissioner King. We'll open the floor for question or discussion. Seeing none, hearing none, we will call for the vote. And we are voting on the amended motion.
No.
It takes
No.
care of the first.
Yeah, that was
Okay.
the main motion.
Main motion, okay.
What?
It is right.
Correct. There was no recommendation.
Repeat that again.
His substitute.
No, it's not a substitute.
It's still the main motion. It's just
the main
conditional.
motion.
Oh, conditional.
Yeah.
Is that we seek funding,
right.
that we allow the transfer and seek funding, and that the parents take reasonable measures to return to the district, reside within the district.
Let the record reflect the vote is unanimous and the student transfer request, as previously stated in 10.3, has been approved. 10.4 was excluded and removed from our agenda on tonight. Thank you so much, Ms. Coles. We'll now move to 10.5, which is the first reading approval of policy IHAC, Social Studies Education. Dr. Brazard is not here. Siobhan Jennings. Okay. Good evening.
Madam Chair, Board of Commissioners, Dr. Witherspoon. The first reading of policy IHAC Social Studies provides some changes that were actually itemized from the state model policy. The standards that are indicated there in red that have been changed are actually standards that have been taught always as a part of our social studies curriculum and the social studies standards. But we pulled that language out, that terminology out, and put it into this policy as recommended by the model policy from the state.
This is a action item?
Yes.
Okay. You've heard the recommendation of the administration. What's the pleasure of the board?
Move for approval, Madam Chair.
Second.
It's been moved by Commissioner Devine, second by Commissioner Myers. We'll now open the floor for question or discussion. Seeing none, hearing none, we will call for the vote.
Oh.
What did you do?
Yes.
Let the record reflect that the first reading approval of policy IHC, Social Studies Education, has been approved with 4 yeas and 1 nay. Let me also state for the record that all policies are vetted in all 3 committees. Commissioner Myers?
I would like to state for the record that my vote was a yes.
Okay, can we change that? Thank you so much. So that's five yeas, and it is unanimous. Thank you so much, Commissioner Myers. We'll move on to 10.6, which is an information item, the Administrative Rule IKA-R, which is the grading and assessment systems. Ms. Jennings.
Yes. IKA-R grading assessment systems. It brings forward language that is coming directly from the state's uniform grading policy, which is a requirement for all districts within the state to use. And so it just pulls out specific language that in the past was not a part of this policy. It's just recommended, but this language is in the uniform grading policy that is required by the state.
Okay, and this is an information item. We'll open the floor for any question or discussion. Seeing none, hearing none, we will move on to 10.7, which is another information item for the Administrative Rule IKF-R graduation requirements.
IKF-R graduation requirements If you would notice in the first paragraph, the changes there, it brings forth the Emancipation Proclamation information. That is the wording that is found directly in the Constitution Act. We've already taught this in this area. We've always taught this subject. It was just a part of the model policy to bring it forward to indicate that it is already being taught as a part of the social studies curriculum.
Okay. This is an information item. Floor is open for any question or discussion. Commissioner Devine.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Under the high school credit for college work, is there a difference between dual credit versus dual enrollment?
Well, dual credit is the credit that you receive. You usually get 3 credits for the institution that you're working with, but it serves as 1 credit here in the district.
Okay.
And dual enrollment just means that you are enrolled in the 2 programs at the same time. While you're in high school, you're working to get college credit.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Any other questions? Okay, this is an information item. We'll move on now to 10.8, which is the first reading approval of policy. Thank you so much, Ms. Jennings. Of policy EBCD, EBCB, safety plans and drills. Mr. Brown.
Madam Commissioner Harris and Board of Commissioners, we bring before you policy EBCB, safety plans and drills. This policy update the model policy that it encompasses and bring us in compliance with the language for the model fire and safety program guidelines, as well as to outline a safety plan, our safety plan drills.
Okay, you've heard the recommendation of the administration. What's the pleasure of the board?
Move for approval.
Second.
Been moved by Commissioner Myers, second by Commissioner Devine. We'll open the floor for question or discussion. Again, let me state that this policy, as well as the other policies, as previously mentioned, have been vetted in all 3 committees. Any questions? Commissioner King? And then Commissioner.
Thanks. So this is so we had a policy before. So this is just you added to this, or this is the first? We had policy EBCB before, right? So these are just new things that were added? Yeah?
Yes, we have to update the language that will include the language of the model fire and safety program guidelines that the State Department asked us to include.
Okay. So is this a model policy from theirs? Well, I mean, did we create that language, or did we just cut and paste it just to add it to comply to the State Department?
Yes, we added the language of the model fire and safety program. We had to show that in our policy. Yes.
Okay. So that's a lot of drills. In the severe weather and earthquake drills, that's something that the district does. That's not mandated, right? I mean, we all know fire drills are mandated.
State law.
What? Severe weather and earthquake drills is state law?
Yes, so we're required to do drills to practice safety through severe weather. We have one in the fall semester, one in the second semester, and we up there take it a little further to go in the summer because we have students for summer school as well as our summer camps. We have severe weather in the summertime, and some of these students are in different locations than they were during the school year, and so feel like best practice that we continue these drills that everyone, when they hear it, they'll know what to do and to keep them safe.
Okay, that's good, but it's going to be a logistic nightmare because we have kids in summer school that are just in camp for 1 week and all that. I mean, so it's going to be interesting to see that. So overall, let's keep it just to the school year. How many drills total do the kids have to go through? So two severe weather / earthquakes, fire drills each month. So that's what, 8 or 9. So that's, and they all have to be independent, right? I mean, you can't do a fire drill at the same time you do a severe weather drill, right? So that, and then we have to have active shooter / threat drills, and those are up to us, right?
Yes.
Okay, so that's, okay. And, all right, that's all I have.
Any other questions on this box? Commissioner Devine?
Thank you. I was going to answer Commissioner King's question. Section 5963.910 states from state law, each school year, schools must conduct the fire drills, active shooter drill, intruder drills, severe weather, earthquake drills, and at least one of each drill each semester. So that's codified in state law, just to answer your question regarding that one item.
Are the fire drills also one at least each semester?
That's what.
So of course, we want safety, but it's sort of like, we got to think, how many is too many and how many is too few? Do we really need to have a fire drill every month? I mean, is that something that y'all talk about? Or, I mean, those are serious questions, right? Because, I mean.
State law. Is it state law?
Is that up for us?
No, that was that question, no.
It's state
You
law.
said
That's
at least
what he
one.
just read. It was state
To conduct one fire drill per month. That school
Is that what you
is in
said? You
operation.
said once, you
Yes.
said once,
One per quarter. I mean, one per semester
Semester.
is what the state law says.
yeah, but that's not a month.
That
It's a semester.
the one per quarter
4 times.
addresses the active shooter drill or lockdown drill.
Right.
Separately, the fire drills is conducted each month.
But is
Schools
that
are
state
mandated
law?
to.
Is that state law, the fire drill be conducted
ma'am.
each month?
Yes.
Is that what you said? I'm just trying to sort of decipher all of this.
Yes, 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 ma'am.
Okay, is that what,
Yep.
okay, I got you.
Okay, any other questions? Seeing none, hearing none, we will call for the vote.
Did you read the statute?
19.
Let the record reflect the vote is unanimous. The first reading approval of policy
okay. I'll give it to
EBCB, safety plans and drills, has been approved. Thank you so much, Mr. Brown. We'll now move to 10.9, which is the board report, where the board has an opportunity to speak on agenda or non-agenda items. We'll open the floor at this time for reports. Commissioner Devine.
Thank you, Commissioner Harris. Just want to say that this past week attended several back-to-school bashers community events, very well attended by the community, and our students are excited about the new school year. As I said at the last meeting, we need to get excited about the new school year. We got staff coming in. We did the new to Richland one. We got new staff coming in who are excited. We had our convocation today. I'm sure that Superintendent and Madam Chair will discuss that. That was another great event for the district. We continue to get ready for the new school year. I think everybody's excited. Want to make sure that our children are excited, our students are excited to enter the classrooms, and that we have a good teacher, qualified teacher in front of all of our students to ensure that they get the best quality education. Asking parents to make sure our young people get to bed on time, get up on time. I know I got 3 excited young people, and right, and eat some breakfast before they come, and so as we go out into the community, we want to make sure that the young people get those book bags, get those school supplies. There's several around town, several that's listed on the internet or wherever you get your information from, but there are a number. And so, again, we want to make sure that our staff is ready. I know there's several other events coming this week for staff to ensure that our staff get their PD going into the new school year. And so with that said, Madam Chair, I'll turn it back over to you.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Devine. Any other reports? Commissioner Myers?
Not a report, just for like some updates about, I believe that was when you could cover this, for parents, if they could enter in the building, talk a little bit about PTA meetings, have, programs. Okay, all right, thank you.
Okay, anyone else? Okay, I did want to do a quick report as well. Want to share with the board special congratulations to one of our very own Richland 1 graduate, Richard Seymour, being inducted into the NFL Hall of Fame. I know there's been some discussion with Dr. Witherspoon and others on our plans to honor and celebrate him. His schedule is very busy right now, but we certainly want to say publicly how proud we are of him and his accomplishment and his humility. in all of this, being a proud graduate from Lower Richland High School and from this community. So there are some things forthcoming to honor him, and we at a later time will talk about all of that. Also want to thank all of the organizations, and as I say to my colleagues all the time, especially in my community, churches. We rely very heavily in Lower Richland on churches putting on these back to school bashes for our children. It means so much to the community, and it means so much to our children. And I just want to publicly thank, as Commissioner Devine said, all of these events that you all are attending in the city. It's happening down in the rural portion of the district. And I just want to say kudos to everybody that see it not as robbery, but their willingness to jump in and help us make sure our children have everything that they need to be successful. And then Dr. Witherspoon, I want to say kudos to you and Karen York for an exceptional back-to-school convocation today. Our elected delegation from the State House and the county was quite impressed to hear the many accolades of what the district has done and what we are continuing to do. But I think the way that they saw our faculty and staff come in there pumped to see their children next week was really a big deal to them, and even them dedicating themselves to being more involved in the schools. So thank you so much for a great job. And someone asked that video that you did of all those employees, if you could put that on the website, because they would like to share that. So if you could share that with the community, that would be really great, because a lot of people enjoyed that. Also, the new to one, want to just say kudos to all of the new faculty and staff that is coming in. Dr. Witherspoon, that staff did, and I think that was Teaching and Learning that put that program on. They did a great job, and I'm telling you, the excitement in that room with all of those new employees was just, hearing folks saying we moved here from New Jersey, we moved here coming from across the country to South Carolina to be a teacher in Richland 1. So job well done to even the HR. You've done a great job hiring across the district to help fill a lot of these positions. We know that vacancies is something that was projected back in 2017-18, that it was coming at 800,000 teacher shortage. And we are feeling that right now, but we're not the only ones. It's across the state, it's across the globe, and everybody's trying to get the same man, but we just want to say kudos to you all for putting on a great new to Richland 1 event for all of our new faculty and staff. And that will complete my report. And just remember, my colleagues, our charge is when school starts to go out and hit up our 52 schools, as we had already talked about. And remember, as we are checking them off the list, please contact Eva so we can make sure that every school has a visit by a member of this board. It's 52 schools is a lot of square miles we got to cover. So thank you so very much for that. And Commissioner King?
Are you done?
You can go ahead.
Okay. I met, I think it's Dr. Cook last night, who's the new principal at Meadowfield. And I got to meet two entrepreneurs extraordinaire, 5 years old, the Lemonade Twins, which was just really, really sweet. I do want to bring something up. I am on the LORADAC Knowledge is Power Coalition, which is an organization that's in the grassroots move or very initial stages of finding a lot of partners to reduce instances of crime and alcohol and drug abuse in communities, and really keeping our kids safe, making good choices. And this is a coalition that's been meeting every couple of months, very near Arden Elementary. But there's an event that LORADAC has put on together, and it's called Cuds for Kids. And those are free haircuts for children ages 5 to 17. And it will be held at Columbiana Mall, the Harbison Columbiana Mall, on Monday, August 15th, from 10 to 3. So just bring your kiddos, and it's from 10 to 3 at Columbiana Mall. That's it.
Right. Thank you, Commissioner King. And one thing, Dr. Wisman, I did want to ask you about, because I know that the state has passed a law that now requires financial literacy to be taught. And if I'm not mistaken, we already have that in Richland 1, correct? Ms. Jennings.
I'm going to let Ms. Jennings
If you can answer
come
that
up
for
and
us.
address that.
Just answer it from there.
Yeah, you can
answer
answer from that, but just talk loud. There you go.
Years ago, we brought financial literacy to the board as an LBA, as a local board-approved course for elective credit. So we've had that course for several years. We are waiting now for the specifics from the state on implementation for financial literacy, how it will be used statewide.
Okay. All right. Thank you so very much. All right. Wonderful. All right. That concludes board reports. At this time, we will move on to 11, which is the Office of Superintendent. 11.1 is the Superintendent's report. Dr. Witherspoon.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board. This morning, as you have alluded to, we held our 2022 back-to-school convocation, which serves as the official kickoff for the new school year for district employees. And our theme for this year is Team One, One Team. Team One, One Team. So regardless of the department, regardless of school, grade level, area of the district, we're Team One, but we're all on the same team in terms of providing support, that Richland One strong thread in terms of what we do for our young people. And I just want to say in advance that we're excited about this year, and that's the word that Commissioner Devine, I heard visiting some of the back-to-school events this past weekend. I know we have multiple back-to-school events this weekend coming, but I've heard that from students, heard that from teachers, administrators, and that are excited about and optimistic about this school year. So I thank everyone in advance for what is shaping up to be another great school year in Richland One. And back to our convocation, I want to thank the Eau Claire High School Junior ROTC Color Guard and the No Half Steppin' Marching Band. Our District Teacher of the Year, Ms. Caroline Carson, Board Chair Harris, the Faculty Jazz Band sounded really great this year. The employee choir sounded really great as well. And all of those, certainly in our theater services, IT, and everyone that participated in convocation in the program. The convocation is posted on R1 TV On Demand on our website, and it will be broadcast on R1 TV Spectrum Cable Channel 1303. Welcome back to our teachers who returned to work today. And also welcome to all of our new teachers and other new employees to Team One and the Richland One family. Classes begin on Tuesday, August 16th, and we look forward to, again, another great school year. On Thursday, August 11th, we will tape the first edition of Spotlight One for 2022-2023. I will answer back-to-school questions and other questions from students, parents, and staff. Spotlight One show will be posted on our Facebook page as well as R1 TV On Demand, and it will air on R1 TV cable channel. Also on Thursday, we will hold a virtual information session to provide an update on the district's safe return to in-person instruction and continuity of services plan. You may ask, well, what is that, Superintendent? Well, coming with one of the expectations with the ESSER funding, that school districts every 6 months had to provide some information and updates and so forth. So this is our time to update and share information. Although we do that in various sessions, this is a requirement from that ESSER plan, that American Rescue Plan for school districts. The live stream of the information session will begin at 6 p.m. and will be accessible via our website, and there will be a link on the homepage. Comments and questions may be sent to ESSER3, ESSERII, at richland1.org before and during the session. And as we prepare for the start of the new school year, we continue to follow guidance from the South Carolina Department of Health and Environmental Control, DHEC, as we did throughout COVID-19 pandemic. DHEC is now treating COVID-19 as an endemic virus, like the flu and chickenpox, instead of a pandemic. DHEC still recommends mask wearing indoors and in communities with high levels of COVID-19. Masks will not be required for Richland 1 students and staff this year, but any student or staff who prefer to wear masks may do so. We have notified parents and staff of the following practices and procedures for the 2022-2023 school year. The plexiglass desk shields are being removed from classrooms, office areas. At least 3 feet of social distancing is recommended where possible. Hand sanitizer is not required. Hand sanitizer will continue to be available, and PPE, the personal protective equipment, including masks, will be provided if needed. We have discontinued the COVID-19 dashboard on our website because DHEC is no longer reporting COVID-19 data in that format. Reporting to DHEC will be initiated if there are any outbreaks in school. And outbreaks are characterized as that 20% number in a classroom or in a school. So that same thing we've had in place for measles, mumps, those other types of outbreaks. Any student and staff who are experiencing COVID-19 symptoms, such as fever or chills, cough, shortness of breath, or a sore throat, should stay at home. Testing is available through public health departments and at other sites, and the home test that you get. In accordance with DHEC guidance, masks will be required for days 6 through 10 of the isolation period for students and staff who test positive for COVID-19 and return to school or work after the 5 days of isolation. Masks will also be required when there's a school outbreak as defined by DHEC. So I'm going to read that one again. In accordance with DHEC guidelines, masks will be required for days 6 through 10 of an isolation period for students and staff who test positive for COVID-19 and return to work or school after the 5 days of isolation. And again, masks will be required when there's a school outbreak as defined by DHEC. Visitors and volunteers will be allowed in our schools, and they will not be required to wear masks. Again, that recommendation is still there, given the community status. The mask requirement will also be lifted for external or non-district after-school program staff. Our normal check-in protocols for visitors and volunteers will be followed. So we appreciate that. That information will be on our website, on our page, and has been cascaded out to staff and parents as well. Next, are you ready for some football? Make plans to be in the stands at Memorial Stadium on Saturday, August 13th for Sports-A-Rama 2022. Sports-A-Rama is our annual football jamboree, which is co-sponsored by the Richland Sertoma Club. The pregame show will begin at 6:15, and there will be 3 games between Richland 1 teams and 1 visiting team. Each game will be played for 2 12-minute quarters. The first game will kick off at 6:30 p.m. Tickets may be purchased in advance for $6 on each of the Richland 1 High School athletic websites and the district's athletics website. There will be no cash sales at the gate. Again, this year, our clear bag policy will be enforced at Sports-A-Rama and at all football games held at district stadiums this season. Coach Matz also says there's going to be some pretty mild weather this weekend. We're going to hold you to that, Coach Matz. Mm-hmm. We encourage all of our parents to attend the R1 Refresh, Connecting Mind, Action, and Attitude on Saturday, August 20th from 10 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. in the Dreher High School auditorium. The purpose of this event is to increase mental health awareness and provide Richland 1 families with self-care and wellness tips and strategies. Along with guest speakers, the event will also feature prize drawings, school supply giveaways, and light snacks. On-site registration will begin at 9:30 a.m. the day of the event, but parents can register online in advance. The registration link is posted on our website. District and community members are also invited to attend, but they do not need to pre-register. And I want to thank certainly our student support services for again always standing in the bridge, if you will, creating those bridges. So when we see those needs in our community and with our families, given the state of things, they stepped up, and our community partners to feature this. And last item, Madam Chair, members of the board, we will also be cascading information. I'll talk about this in the Spotlight 1 taping, that we're offering some parent sessions later after the first of the year, start of the school year, in each cluster of the district, where we will have individual presenting information about how parents can help being a part of the village in terms of what they do with their students, providing opportunities and things that they can do to support what's going on in schools. And we look forward to cascading that information, and we're asking, again, all of our parents to take part in that as well, and we'll be sharing that information end of this week and the first of next week as well. Madam Chair, that concludes my report this evening.
Thank you so very much, Dr. Witherspoon, for that report. We'll open the floor at this time for any additional questions or comments. Commissioner Myers.
Thank you for that report, Dr. Witherspoon. Just for clarification, I know some students are eating lunch in their classroom, or they're back eating lunch in the cafeterias. Concerned a little bit about the lockers and changes for classes to classes and recess.
Yes, we started transitioning back to cafeterias at the end of last year, okay. at the end. But as we begin this year again with some of the protocols being changed, they'll be back in the cafeteria, and again transition to get back to some of that pre-pandemic normalcy.
Normalcy.
Yes.
Dr. Witherspoon, does that include the salad bars? You know, that's a big thing at the high school.
That is correct. Ms. Dixon that is correct.
So the kids will be, okay, that's awesome. Yes. That's awesome. Commissioner Clyburn?
So as far as normalcy, pre-pandemic normalcy that you just mentioned, Commissioner Myers was asking about, volunteers and parents being allowed back, and you said they would be allowed back. Is there a limit on numbers, or is there any kind of restriction on that?
We're still letting the schools work through that. We cascaded this information to our school-based administrators at the end of last week, so that they could take a look at that and then cascade that information out with open houses and those types of things. So they would be the ones, again, cascading some of those particulars in the school, but the intent again is to get back to that sense of normalcy, as we transition back.
Okay, so parents can expect to get that information before school starts?
Before school starts,
hopefully.
yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Commissioner Devine?
Thank you, Dr. Witherspoon. I don't know who makes the decisions regarding the open houses. Is that the individual school?
That's at the schools, yes.
So as we plan for next year, which I know that you and your staff probably already planning for next year, those of us that have multiple children in multiple schools, can we say elementary's on, say, a Tuesday, middle school's on a Wednesday, and then high school's on a Thursday? Because sometimes you have them on the same night or same time. It's difficult to get from, elementary to a middle or middle to high, to when you have multiple children at multiple schools. Just something to think about as you and your team think about that going forward. To kind of cascade that to your staff, if you don't mind. Thank you.
Wonderful. Any other questions? Okay. Seeing none, we have one announcement before adjournment, and that is the next regular board meeting of the Richland 1 Board of Commissioners will be held on Tuesday, August 23rd, here at the Stevenson Administration Building at 1616 Richland Street. And let me just say to all of Richland 1, to our family, our staff, our students, and the whole community, welcome back to an awesome and a great year of learning. Without any objection from the board, we can consider ourselves dismissed. Thank you.
All right.